Oh, good morning, everyone. As Ryan said, I'm Angela Hayes. I am the coordinator as well as a professor in the early childhood education program. I do appreciate everyone taking some time to visit us and hear what we have to offer. I recognize what a difficult decision it is to choose what you want to do post-secondary, as well as where you want to go. So hopefully we can provide you with some information about what we have to offer here at Niagara College in our ECE program. So if you just flip that slide, Ryan. Okay, so I'm going to try to focus a little bit on what's different about Niagara College. And like Rick said, we have some unique things that we offer here that might be a little bit different that will help you, guide you on your decision of where you would want to take this diploma. So the first thing about ECE is it is a 2-year diploma. It's broken into 4 terms. So September to December, January to April, then you're off for the summer, and then you come back and repeat that process in the second year, and then you graduate. What we do is each term scaffolds on the learning. So you do have to complete all the first term courses before you go into second term and continue on that process. And each term builds on the learning previous. The faculty do meet every spring and spend considerable time updating all the curriculum to make sure that is the most recent research. And all the faculty in our program have traveled on many different paths, started out frontline as early childhood educators, and then pursued further education, specialized in certain areas, but their passion for this field has all brought them back to the field of early childhood education. In terms of what the terms look like, the courses you will take are all 3 hours, and they are all what we call hybrid. Now, recently, all our courses have been online, but looking to next September, we are anticipating that everything will be back on campus, meaning that each course would be 2 hours in a classroom, face-to-face with a professor, and 1 hour online, where you're responsible for your own work. We say that our classes, you do about 15 to 18 hours of class a week, and then 15 to 18 hours of homework, and then you do a placement every single term as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about placement a little bit later, but just want you to get an idea of what the 2 years would look like. So maybe we could, yeah, thanks. So actually, Ryan, can you go to the next one and then go back to this one? I think the next one is just about the alternative 1 year. The next one. Sorry. No, sorry. The one that says we do have a 1 year program as well. I just want to highlight that instead of going separately. We do have. Sorry, we have a 1 year program as well. However, that's a fast tracking program, and that's offered to students that have a bachelor's of education in primary junior. And the reason why we worked with Brock in terms of the curriculum that goes into that program to understand that they've learned all about the legislation and the literature that students would be learning in our first year. So if someone has a Bachelor of Education with a primary junior focus, they can come in and finish the ECE program in 1 year. However, the learning is the same. So if we want to move in to talk a little bit about placement, because this is what Niagara College is all about, okay? Okay, I'll do this one first. Sorry. In terms of our program overview, this one says it's about the 1 year program. So I'll just explain both the 2 year and the 1 year. In the 1 year, you're going to get 375 hours of placement experience. And that is a considerable amount of placement. We are one of the only colleges that still offer a placement in first term. And then if you do the 2-year program, you actually get over 500, about 605 experiential hours. And what we do is spread those placements out. So you might come into the program thinking, I really want to work in a kindergarten. I want to be a kindergarten teacher, which every kindergarten classroom across the province of Ontario has a registered early childhood educator in it. You might come in thinking that. However, we will give you a placement in that environment, but then the 3 other placements will be in different environments and different age groups. And the reason is because we believe you don't know what you don't know yet. So you might think, I don't want to work with infants. That's scary, or what am I going to do with infants? But we want to give you that experience because you might get in there and change your mind. We know the most rapid brain development happens between the ages of 0 to 6. So those early years are so important. The other piece of giving 4 different environments is that upon graduation, a full-time position in the school board might not be available, but a position in an infant room may be available. So it makes you more marketable to get a job immediately out of school. So this is why in our 4 placements, you have 4 different experiences. In the first 3 terms, we also are one of the only colleges that run concurrent placements, meaning that you will do your classes in the morning and then head out to placement in the afternoon, or vice versa. And the reason why we do this is because we want to learn alongside with you, meaning that if you're out in placement and you have a question or something happens, you're going to be coming into class the next day and be able to talk to one of your professors about it, as opposed to going through your placement every day and wondering about what's happening. And at the end of the placement, talking about it, and then it's too late to make any changes or to provide that extra learning. So that's kind of the difference between our placements in terms of what's different from other colleges, the concurrent running of those placements. In 4th term, you do full days, 8 hours a day for 6 weeks in one placement. And this is designed specifically for students to get comfortable and obtain work. Most of our students do end up working in their placement environments. So that's about placement. I'm just wondering if we can go over the extra credential slide there, Ryan. No, okay, good. So this is another piece of what is different. When you're going to take your early child education diploma at any college across the province, everyone has the same learning outcomes, and faculty will decide how they meet those learning outcomes. But those learning outcomes are the same. Class time is typically the same. So what we've tried to do is figure out, how do we set our graduates apart so that they're the most marketable, that they're the ones that get the jobs upon graduation, knowing that every student in an early child education program across the province would be graduating at the same time. So what we have done is we've incorporated what we call extra credentials into our program. So these credentials, you can see the list here that probably don't mean a lot in terms of the acronyms, but the Hannon program is a research-based program about communication and learning language. We know literacy is key for students to be successful academically and professionally in their future years. This is a program that many registered early childhood educators try to take and want to take. It's quite expensive for professionals to take it in the field. So what we have done is all the faculty have become trained the trainers, and we've actually incorporated this training over the 2-year program so that all our students graduate with this extra credential, being certified in Hannon Learning Language and Loving It program. The second one is the Red Cross Bully Prevention Program. This is a provincially recommended program for anyone working with children under the age of 12 in the community. So we have also integrated this into our school age program so that students leave with this certificate as well. QCCN is Quality Childcare Niagara. This is an initiative that the early years community in Niagara has implemented, and every registered early childhood educator in the field gets trained in this once they're employed. So also that's a cost to the employer to have the trainers come in and work with their employees before they start working. So what we have done again is incorporated this into one of our courses so that our students graduate with that. So it saves an employer a cost, and again makes our students much more marketable and to step up in terms of their resume, looking more qualified and wanted more when looking for work upon graduation. The Sick Kids Global Nutrition Program, this is a program that looks at international needs. We do have students that start to work abroad, so we want them to have a global perspective of the early years, and this is a program designed by Sick Kids Hospital, which is also research-based, that our students will leave with that certification, as well as the CCEYA self-test, which is designed by our ministry. And the CCEYA, that's the legislation that governs all early years centers. It's the parameters that they must work under. Therefore, knowledge of this is critical. So leaving with the certificate saying that you have passed the test designed by the ministry itself is a significant addition to a resume. So this is something that's different that Niagara College does in terms of trying to beef up that resume and make our students the most marketable upon graduation. So maybe we can change now. Okay, so this is what I was talking about in terms of the 2-year program. This is just a general sense of what we do. Like I said, if you're in the 2-year program, you're going to get over 600 hours of field placement. If you're in the 1-year advanced, you're going to get 375. When you graduate, you have many opportunities for employment. That could be through school boards, licensed early years environments, and some specialty areas that we will talk to students about as we try to go on students' interests. When you graduate with a diploma, you must get registered with the College of Early Childhood Educators. We do have a governing body, and we ensure that all our courses meet all the standards, and your placements are actually designed based on those outcomes. We've defined measurable behaviors so that we can demonstrate that you've met all the criteria to be registered in order to work in the field. And we actually support that process of registering, which is also something that Niagara College does that other colleges don't. And then in your placement, we do have our college staff go out and visit you in placement. They have meetings with you and your host staff to make sure that you're on track to provide any additional resources when you're out in the field. So if you've never been with an early years classroom, we're here to support you. And you also have weekly meetings on campus every week to discuss what's happening in those placements. Okay, so career opportunities, I think this one is really important because when we think about early childhood educators, a lot of people simply think childcare settings. However, with all the recent research on brain development, what we know is there's many opportunities now for early childhood educators in the community. First of all is the Board of Ed, which I spoke about. Every kindergarten classroom across Ontario with more than 15 children has to have an early childhood educator in it. Hospital playrooms also have early child educators in it so that children who are in hospital don't get behind in their academics and cognitive development. We do have our childcare centers. We have preschool programs. So sometimes we have alternative programs like Waldorf centers or Montessori's where we would place students if that was their interest. Our school-age children, so before and after care or summer camps, also have early childhood educators. Family and children's agencies, so our Specialized Children's Aid Society has programs where we're supporting children in care. Then we have our Ontario Early Years centers, which are actually called early on centers now, where parents attend with their children. Also, a different aspect, totally different perspective with early child educators working with parents and children. And then we have home childcare. We have lots of students that want to set up their own home childcares once they graduate, because you still also have to be licensed in order to do that. So there's a wide range of career opportunities upon graduation. And the last one, and then this is the last one people all want. A big question when you're taking a course, which makes sense, is am I going to work? Like, what am I going to do when I graduate? And right now there is actually a shortage of registered early childhood educators in the Niagara region. This was kind of starting to happen pre-COVID, but with COVID, we've had an increase in retirements. And so right now we are having all our community partners are they're posting jobs for students to apply for so that they can secure them before they even graduate. We have right now 100% guaranteed getting a job upon graduation if you're going to stay in Niagara region. However, our students are leaving and going to the GTA as well and getting jobs immediately. So at this point, getting a job in the field is not a question or a concern for our graduates. They are getting jobs before they've even graduated. So I think that's it, like for overall a brief, overall summary. And I hope I tried to explain what's different about Niagara College. But if at the end you have any questions, I will just wait for Ryan to share that. And then I will pass it over to Jess and Jen.
Of course. Thank you so much, Angela. I really appreciate the information.
Thank you.
And yes, exactly as Angela said, we're now going to pass things on to Jessica and Jen to speak about our child and youth care program. Take it away.
Thanks, Ryan. And thanks, Angela. You did such a fantastic job on all the information you provided. And now I want to talk about child and youth care. For the first slide, I really just want to focus you in on what is child and youth care. So really what we do is we work with youth typically age 6 to 29. And we focus in on their emotional and social well-being, as well as their behaviors and their development throughout their lifespan. It's really important that you know what child and youth care is when you're thinking about this program and how it differentiates from other community service programs. So I'm just going to ask Ryan to flip the slide and we're going to get right into it. So first off, I'll introduce myself. This is a picture of your core faculty team. So myself, Jennifer, and Sherry. I like to think we're a really fun group. We work really closely together. So I'm the program coordinator and also a professor in the program. I graduated with a child and youth care diploma, and I say every time I get a chance to that the diploma program for child and youth care is what you need to be successful in the field. It's a foundation. And then from there, I upgraded some of my skills through Ryerson University Child and Youth Care, and then again to a Master's of Education in Post-Secondary Studies. But again, I'm always bringing myself back to those foundational skills that I learned in the diploma program. They're helpful for the field and for life as well. So I'll let Jen go ahead and introduce herself.
Thanks, Jess. Hi, I'm Jen White. I'm full-time faculty for the CYC program. I'm actually alumni. I graduated from this program way back. I won't say what year to age myself, but I was very fortunate to be involved in this program way back and got a job right away. So if you're ever wondering if this is where to go and where to get a job, this is it. So I did graduate from this program. I went on to university as well once I got in the field. I worked in education for 14 years and did a psychology degree part-time, and then did a master's of education, just like Jess. And here we are. I've been teaching into the program. 2012, I taught part-time, and then 2014 full-time. So I'll introduce Sherry because she's not here today, but I'll talk a bit about her background. The great thing also about our program is that we are all former CYCs. We all worked the field and we all come from diverse backgrounds, which also shows the versatility of what CYC is. So Sherry Visser-Fleming, she also graduated from a CYC college program. She's currently studying her bachelor's of Indigenous Education Social Work. So that's a really cool opportunity that she's taken on, and she's your placement officer, and she's awesome. She's really rallied with COVID and done some great work with our community partners and ensuring that our students are getting the best placement opportunities. So she's done a really great job. She's worked in youth justice a lot of her career. She's worked at youth homes and in the education sector as well. So again, we all come from very diverse backgrounds. So we're really happy to be part of this program. Thank you. So while I'm talking, I'll carry on with the highlights as best I can. So we are a 3-year advanced diploma, which is offered over 6 consecutive terms. So it's really 2 years. We have a September start and it goes right till August. So you get little breaks in between each term, but really it's pretty consistent as far as the learning goes. And we have our focus on the curriculum is applied skills, interventions, and theoretical knowledge to support children, youth, and families, which again, it's all very different in each course. So we offer a lot of experiential learning, of course, a lot of class experience, face-to-face, some hybrid and online learning. We have our 3 unique placement opportunities that are scaffolded. So the first one is in term 2, and it's 150 hours just to kind of get your feet wet and get used to the idea of what it might look like and just to experience what it's like to be out there. And then for the second placement, it's 325 hours, usually in an education setting, but sometimes that changes. And then the last one is 400 hours. So you're getting quite a lot of practical knowledge out in the field. And then also what's happening is our placement officer, Sherry, has incorporated a new platform to track your skills and set goals for the CYC program. So yeah, it's a really great opportunity. We hope you come and choose our program. So thank you for listening.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, this slide, relational retreat. This is really unique to Niagara College Child and Youth Care program. Child and Youth Care is really rooted in what we call relational practice. It's about building relationships with young people and with our coworkers to really help foster that growth and development when we're looking at that emotional and social well-being. So in the first few weeks of your learning, we invite you on campus and we have a full day of retreat activities where you're able to team build with your cohort, with your peers, get to know your faculty really well. Of course, there's food, activities, and we also have speakers that come in, and we usually try and have speakers from diverse perspectives come in and share their experiences and really sort of set that ground for an inclusive learning environment. We're really proud of the retreat. We have a lot of fun at this on this day and getting to know you guys. Another thing about the relational retreat is that you're still learning foundational skills of child and youth care. And as Rick Anderson mentioned, we're all about experiential learning. So throughout our program, we do the same as the ECE program that Angela spoke of in terms of scaffolding. So you start with introductory courses, and as you move through the program, we build on those skills and we advance them and we perfect them for you. So when you graduate, you're feeling really confident when you go out into the field. And we do that through the experiential learning. So this is a great example of your first opportunity to have experiential learning. But some of the other really cool things that we do in our program is we teach you how to facilitate and we teach you how to design and implement therapeutic programming activities. We teach you counseling skills, and you get to actually practice counseling sessions with your peers and get feedback from your professor. We teach you how to properly administer medication. We do a lot of group development activities and teach you how to work not only in a group with your colleagues and your peers, but also how to facilitate that group development with children and youth. So we have a ton of fun in this program. We're constantly doing activities. You're constantly learning about yourself and how you respond to things, and then again, how to support youth in that growth and development piece. So experiential learning is really what we're all about, and this retreat is such a fun day that we start off introducing that to you. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Next slide, please, Ryan. Thank you. So career opportunities. This is why you're coming to the college, is because you want to get a career going. If you choose child and youth care, you have a ton of opportunities. This list is actually it's pretty small. You could branch out into so many areas with child and youth care, but these are sort of the main areas that not only are you going to learn about beyond placement in these areas, but have the highest chance of getting a job. And there's tons of jobs in child and youth care available. So Board of Education. So sometimes we will hear different terms for what our job might be in the Board of Education. So if you're searching career opportunities, you might see child and youth worker, you might see youth counselor, you might see child mental health worker, depending on what board you're in. Sometimes they have different names. So we have many grads who are employed and are doing placements in the DSBN and the Niagara Catholic Region District School Board, and some out of town as well. So we have placed in our neighboring areas such as Hamilton, Burlington, etc. Also community mental health and social service agencies. So when we say community agencies, we really mean sort of anything that the community offers to support people that involves children and youth. Sometimes that includes a mental health component, and sometimes there's social services involved as well. So really the community tries to sort of do a wraparound, bringing lots of different services together to support families. And we work with children, youth, and families. So you could be in any number of community agencies. Then we talk about residential care and treatment facilities. So that could be child welfare. So that could be foster homes, group homes, any kind of residential means anywhere that youth might live that's out of home. Or a treatment facility might mean a place where youth go that they get specialized treatment, whether it's for mental health, behavior, emotional support. It could be any kind of treatment that isn't typical of a youth that's not seeking treatment. So for example, we have specialized schools that youth might go to, specialized agencies or specialized homes that we might work in and support youth. Again, specialized day and residential camp. So that could also include your YMCA's, Boys and Girls Clubs, after school care. It could be focused on a particular area that we know youth have higher needs in, that you might be placed in or you're able to get a job in, and use those facilitation skills and those group work skills and your counseling skills in those camps, whether it's a summer camp, a March break camp, any sort of after school program. And then there's youth justice facility or agency. So we do work in youth justice as well. That could be supporting a youth who may be in conflict with the law, or that could be actually working in a youth detention center. So we definitely do a lot of learning and working with youth justice and thinking about their rights and the legislation around that and how to support youth in conflict with the law. So those are sort of our main areas that we really focus on in your learning and placing you in. So if we flip over to my last slide, I've got a big, nice slide that Jen made for us with most of our really common agencies that we place with. This is not exhaustive. We have our list. I could probably fill up 4 slides with places that we have placed students at, but these are ones we use on a regular basis. So, and this is where our grads are getting hired. So as Jen mentioned, the placements are scaffolded. Your first placement, that 150 hours, will typically be in an after school sort of environment like a YMCA Boys and Girls Club. So you can start practicing those foundational skills that you've learned. So your first round of facilitation that you learn with us in the college, you can then practice in a really safe and easy environment where kids are there to have a lot of fun, and you can practice those relationship skills and everything you've learned. Then your second placement, we typically try and place you in a school. That could be a treatment sort of classroom, or it could just be a typical school setting. And then your third placement, we try and place you in something that you're really interested in. So it might be child welfare, it might be a community agency, and we really work with you hard in that last placement. Also, one last point that I wanted to make is that we do allow students to have a paid placement in their final placement. Some colleges don't, so that really sets us apart. And also, if out of town placements is something that you're interested in, we also take a look at that. And then the last additional thing I wanted to say before closing here is that when we say we have blended learning, some of our classes are online, some of them are a mix of online and in the classroom, and then some of them are just in the classroom. So that summer term that you're going to go straight through to make it a 2-year program instead of a 3, we try and make that online so that you have the opportunity to really flex your own schedule and work at the same time. Summer employment is really important for students, and we know that. Or perhaps you need to go back to back home, or you have other obligations. We really try and flex our program to make that easy for you, especially in those summer months. So I hope that I answered some of your questions. If not, then we'll catch up in the Q&A. Ethan, you're asking about the differences between the social worker program and the child and youth worker program. And it looks like you're interested in bridging over to a BA in social work. I see that you have a bit more there, psychology, sociology versus community development versus human services. So I learned really early on when I got to Niagara College that, you know, we play as a team and we want you in the right spot at Niagara College. So I can't tell you if it's better to take child and youth worker or it's better to take social service. They're both great programs. I do know that it is a little more difficult to get into social service work at the university level from a child and youth worker program. However, I think it's really important that you're weighing out what is it that you want to do? What is your current outcome? So the child and youth worker program, we're really hands-on, we're really frontline. We do, you know, in the moment counseling sessions. We don't sit in an office necessarily and do a lot of clinical work. We're not registered with the Psychotherapy Act, so we can't practice psychotherapy. So those are some things that I would really encourage you to sort of research around social work. What is it? What are your goals? And I think that that's maybe a conversation you and I can have one-on-one, and I can dig a little deeper into what it is that you're looking for. In terms of course material and our online learning, yeah, there's quite a bit of flexibility in our program, but it's not fully flexible in terms of you can just be online and completely manage your own time. You will be required to come in for certain courses, for certain labs and certain lessons. So that is a requirement, and it changes from term to term. And we also have a number of our courses in our program through the Liberal Arts and Sciences department. And so those teachers as well will have a varied hybrid model. So although we do our best to make as much flexibility as possible, it's not a fully online learning program. Background in business with child and youth care. I'm not sure about that, Ethan. Again, I would encourage you to reach out to me and we can set up an individual session for sure. I'm really interested to hear, you know, what your goals are.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for addressing that, Jessica. Angela, I wasn't sure if there's anything you wanted to mention about those sorts of pathways or outcomes for your program as well.
Well, I'm not sure. It seems like Ethan is more interested in the social service aspect of this. However, we do have, just as an aside or additional information to others, we do have multiple pathways to universities right now. We have a pathway to Brock to take a bachelor's of early child education. So if people are looking to go from diploma to degree, they get 2 years credit into that program. So they bypass the first 2 years of that undergraduate degree based on our program. We also have an opportunity with Niagara University to do a master's in early childhood cognition, where they actually, and that's across the border. So it's been a bit more complicated with COVID. However, hopefully we're moving out of that, and students get a break on their tuition given the exchange between Canadian and American dollars, but also get advanced standing into that program. And then the third opportunity is we do have a connection with a school in Thailand where students can do their fourth placement there. With that, it's a private learning institution there, and also can take a couple of courses through their university system as additional learning. So it's kind of a different spec, like it's not really what Ethan's asking, but it's just additional information of things that we do have in our ECE program around pathways.
Awesome.
And
Thank you
then
for
what's
answering
this
that.
one? If I do get into, okay, so sorry, this one says I'm enrolled and accepted into special needs. Okay, interested in early ECE waitlisted. Yeah, it is common we are oversubscribed, and that's just a way of saying that we do typically have a wait list. And so April 20, if you get in September, does it go beyond April 30th, 2022? If you started in September of 2021, then yeah, it's a 2-year program. So you would be going to 2023. So yes, it would go beyond April 30th, 2022, unfortunately. Oh, sorry, next one. You say April 2023. Sorry, I'm looking down the list there. So yeah, no, it would be done. The classes would be officially done like that last week of April. So not sure if this, Anna, if there's something you want to add to that around that.
So, yeah, so the TRV expiring on April 30th, the TRV is only a document that allows you entry into Canada. So it's your study permit that we need to focus on. So if your study permit expires the same date, then you would need to apply for an extension. And the International Department is there to assist you with that. The TRV, like I said, is only entry into Canada. So even if it expires while you're still in Canada, that is fine as long as you don't leave Canada. It's a study permit that you need to focus and make sure that's still valid in order to study.
Mhm. And in terms of winter 2022 intake for ECE, we definitely have an intake. I know we're full to capacity for our January intake. However, again, people are deciding still right now. And as we know, over the last 2 years, life can be unpredictable. We don't know what could happen tomorrow. So if you're interested, it would still be in your best interest to get it on the wait list for that. But yes, we do have an intake winter 2022.
Awesome. Thanks, Angela.
You're welcome.
And Anna, awesome. That was great. Just to remind anyone who's an attendee for this session, please don't hesitate to post your questions using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Just a question for the faculty in the virtual room, I suppose, and this is kind of selfish of me, I guess. But I do like to kind of hear about any potential opportunities when it comes to partnerships with I suppose the Be World Ready program. And anything to do with that sort of international experience that students may have the opportunity to explore.
So I can start, Jess, if you want, and then you guys can pick in. So I briefly mentioned our connection with a school in Thailand. It's a family-owned school that they serve students from what they call nursery, which is our preschool. They start school at 2 there and go up through to high school. And it's actually a really interesting experience that we've had with the school. It's called LERTLA. And what happened was they were researching around early childhood education. And in their research looked at the value that the province of Ontario in Canada put in to their early childhood education experience in those early years. And so then they started looking across the province of what we call KPIs. They're key performance indicators. We don't do them anymore, but they're posted around what stands out around one college versus another across the province. And what they found was Niagara College had the highest levels of key performance indicators in our early childhood education program. So they reached out to us from Thailand asking for us to send our graduates directly to them to work in their schools alongside their Thai teachers. And so it was very exciting. And we spent about 2 years figuring that out and how to do that. And initially we had students going upon graduation, but now we have students who are able to do their 4th placement over there with very limited costs. They are so eager to have our students that they pay for their flight, they pay for their accommodations, and they get a stipend while they're there. It's quite an experience for our students to have. So that's one of our international things, and Be World Ready is a huge component of supporting our students and getting all the documentation that they need to get there. And at the current time, we're working with a university in Ireland to create a pathway as well for our students to get a degree there and get credit for the studies that they've done with us, which is also through Be World Ready. So those are two of our key experiences right now.
Thanks, Angela. I always get so excited to hear about your Thailand experience. It's so amazing. The Child and Youth Care Program has participated in a few Be World Ready opportunities. So one that we did a few years back, and we ran it twice, and I believe it will run again, was a trip to Amsterdam, where students were able to experience the soft skills of being in a different environment, but and really getting that global preparedness together, but also different community agencies that provide services to children, youth, and families, and kind of connect those experiences in Amsterdam to what we do here in Niagara region and Ontario and Canada as a whole. So I know I didn't go on that trip personally, but the students said it was a trip of a lifetime. It was completely eye-opening and changed their whole perspective. So I always encourage students to go. Jen and I have both been on a Be World Ready trip as well to Philadelphia, where we engaged in different community agencies there as well, which was fantastic. That trip doesn't run anymore, but a trip that we were in development stages for right before COVID was a trip to Ireland to sort of explore some of the ways that Ireland supports children, youth, and families as well. So that trip included a trip to do a lot of recreational activities as well. And I'm really looking forward to hearing how that's going to unfold and reintroducing that into the CYC opportunity pool. So if you get a chance to go to the Be World Ready site, please do it. It's amazing. I've done some collaboration with them on a few different projects, and it's something that Niagara College really stands out from other colleges with, and we try and support students with some financial support as well for these trips. And again, like I said, it's life-changing, and it brings you together with your peers and connects to all of your learning, and I can't say enough about it, really.
That's awesome. No, thanks so much for kind of covering that. That's it's an experience, I think, and I asked the question too because I love hearing about those experiences. When I was a student, I'm also a graduate from Niagara College, not in your programs, unfortunately, but I did graduate from the college, and I got to do one of those international experiences in Ireland, of all places, of course. Seems like a popular spot. But it's such an incredible opportunity to get that sort of, not even just academic, but cultural opportunities and awareness to be able to grow both personally and professionally in those kinds of ways. So thanks so much for covering some of that info. I appreciate it. That's awesome. So we don't have any other current open questions now. We do have a few more minutes though before the end of the session. So if you don't mind waiting around, if anybody still attending the session as an attendee, if you do have anything you'd like to ask, now is the perfect time to do so with our faculty here and on point. Yeah, so we'll just kind of wait for those questions. But if there is anything else, Angela, Jess, and Jen, that you guys would like to, in the meantime, mention about your programs or something you wish you had more time to say about your program, please, this would be an awesome time.
Ryan,
Yeah.
I think I
Sorry, go
saw a
ahead,
question there. Sorry, I thought I saw a question asked about, does this go with recreational therapy program? Did
Yes,
that question be answered?
there was one earlier. I don't know which program they were referencing between the two of yours, but are there any connections between your programs and the rec therapy?
There are a little bit. There are different positions in the field. However, there is some overlap. Again, CYC is so versatile. We end up working in agencies and in sports and in different recreational type atmospheres that maybe we haven't in the past. because we're becoming so versatile. So if there are vulnerable populations, marginalized populations, children and youth, then we really can infiltrate anywhere. So I can't stress that enough, how versatile we are. So I don't know if that's what the question's asking. Does it go with, or is it in line with? But you know, there are some similarities, I would say, in some of the positions afterwards.
Yeah, of course. There is a question there right now asking about the other Q&As. I'm assuming they're referencing the Q&As going on as per the entirety of the open house day. If not, please feel free to correct me in the question and answer section. But all of those Q&As are going to be sort of available as the sessions are run throughout the day. But then all of them will be accessible virtually, I suppose, recorded afterwards. This session included has been recorded. So any information that you may be wondering about or may have missed will be accessible afterwards. But if you do have something that you'd like to ask, or you think of something after the session, which happens all of the time, please don't hesitate to just visit our website. You can set up a session, like I mentioned with myself. If you were looking to do that, you can. It's niagaracollege.ca/visit. And that's where you'll kind of find all the information to kind of begin that dialogue.
Ryan, can I just mention one more thing?
Of course.
So just for those of you who are listening, I wanted to let you know I'm really proud to be part of Niagara College. And one of the things that we're always trying to do is to create a welcoming environment. And for those of you who may have some anxieties about post-secondary academics or being part of the college system, please know that the community service program, we are a really friendly group and we do as much as possible to support you, whether you're going into rec therapy, social work, ECEA, child and youth care. We really do aim to help ease some of those anxieties in your transition into your studies, as well as we rely really heavily on our student advisors and our student success supports. So please know that if you choose Niagara College, that we're really going to try and help you be successful at all costs.
Yeah, couldn't have said that better myself. Thank you.
Yeah, if
yes,
I could just,
Anna.
sorry, add just one thing. I was Jess was reading my mind there in terms of when I was interjecting, and sorry, I just started to interrupt you there, Jen, for a minute. But I was going to say one of the key things in our program, and we share a hall with Jen and Jess and Sherry. So we all work in the same environment. So we're able to watch the interactions of each other with their student population. And one of the things that I can speak for my faculty, and I can say that I've seen in their program, is that the relationship with the student is primary. We know education is based on relationships. So in early childhood education, we know that these educators need to form relationships with these little ones to get them excited about learning. Right. And so we try to mirror that. And one of the things I think it takes students by surprise in terms of how hard the faculty work to get to know students, that, you know, when they first come in, we print their pictures and we study their pictures so that if we see them in the hall, we might say, oh, hi, Ashley. And they're like, whoa, how do you know my name? Like, what did I say? What did I do? And it's more about, it's our intention to say, you're more than a number, you're a person, and we're here to support you on any pathway. And like Jess said, community service has such a huge umbrella. So we have students that might start in ECE, but then end up over with Jess and Jen because they find their passion in that first year. And if we can develop those relationships, then we can see, hey, you really seem strong in this area. What do you think about this? And have those conversations. We notice when students aren't in class and we follow up and say, hey, are you okay? Where are you? Is there anything we can do? You know, how can we switch you up? You know, Anna knows that we work with our international students quite closely to try and figure out how do we make this work in an optimal way that meets the faculty's needs and the expectations that we have to meet, but also meet the students' needs. So I think the one foundational thing about both our programs is that we try very hard to develop a quality of relationship with every single student, despite the fact that, you know, in our program, we have 340 students every year, but try to know each student by name, even during COVID, meeting online at least 3 times a term to have a conversation. Where are you at? What can we do? How can we make this better for you? So I just wanted to mirror what Jess was saying. I've seen it in their program and it's a goal of ours for sure.
Excellent. Thank you, Angela.
Thanks, Angela. I totally agree with you. I've seen your staff and you meet with students on an ongoing basis, and everybody's just so lovely with everybody. And that's really a key point. And just to add to that too, a few of our students that have come through have been to university first. And that's one of the things they always say is, when I was at university, I was nothing but a number, unfortunately. But for us, they say, nope, you guys are so with us. You're so supportive and you're so engaging and wanting to know and make sure that we're okay. And that's what students have always kind of reiterated to us. And it's just great feedback.
Awesome. Anna, did you have one last thing to say?
Yeah, so for Lillian, if you are interested in the ECE program, all you have to do is contact international admissions. I know currently the program is waitlisted for the winter term. However, as Angela had stated before, some students take different paths. So I would encourage you to even get on that wait list because you just don't know what's going to happen. And just to mirror what everyone else has said, for international students, the international service team is always there for you from start to finish. So as soon as you submit your application, we are working closely with you until you graduate. We're there to provide services for you, whether you need transition, coming to a new country, adapting to our lifestyle, working with you with challenges you may have with technology, immigration. We're there to assist you with any immigration applications that you may require throughout your path, as well as academics. We work closely with faculty. We work closely with your academic advisor. We are all here working as a team for you because we want you to succeed. Your success is our success.
That's excellent, Anna. Thank you so much for that. So that's, I think, is a great conclusion to our session. We're just about right on time here. So one more time, all the attendees, I want to thank you so much for your questions. It's an excellent way to kind of get that discussion rolling. And then to Rick, Angela, Jessica, Jennifer, and Anna, thank you so much for taking the time to be here and provide this information to potential students in the future. It is highly appreciated. And I think I'll just close it off with this one comment in the chat here that said from somebody who had heard that the Faculty of Community Service at Niagara College is one of the best. So thank you so much for your time.